share to fully comprehend, but I'm going to share with you enough information today that it will be life-changing. So I want you to know I respect the fact that everybody could be doing something else on a Saturday. How many of you had something else to do, or you could have been doing something else? Okay. So I want you to know when you leave here today that it was worth your time to be here today. So you need to find out something that can impact your life, or that will impact your life. Now, Mr. Lee talked about, he's from South Carolina. I'm going to take just a few minutes to tell you a little bit about me. I'm from Brooklyn. I spent 15 years working in Manhattan. In fact, I worked in the World Trade Center. And I'm kind of thankful that at that point in time, I had just stopped working there when the World Trade Centers fell. I worked for J.P. Morgan. And J.P. Morgan changed or switched operations down to Delaware, hence I went down to Delaware. How many of you guys are like, people really live there? Like Delaware is just some place you go through? For years, I thought Delaware was like a 15-minute state. And that's because most people travel to Delaware or through Delaware on 95. But if you travel Delaware along the coast, it's about 2.5 hours. I mean, if you're Mr. Lee, it's 1.5 hours. It's that police mentality. But it's a nice state. I ended up in Delaware. When I first moved to Delaware, I had to commute to New York to work. I commuted 3 hours to work and 3 hours back home. And that's how I ended up doing what I do today, because I got tired of being sick and tired. Can you imagine if you had to spend 6 hours of your day just getting to and from work? Can you guys understand that that would take a toll on you? Absolutely. Like if I was the same age I am now, I don't think I could have done it. That's but when you're doing what you have to do, you just do it. Why do you think I spent 6 hours getting to and from work? Anybody have an idea? For the money. Because I had to. How many of you guys do what you do because you need the paycheck? Yeah. Raise your hand. All right, most people do. And that's why I was in that situation. But because of the negative situation I was in, I opened my mind to alternative ways to create income. Someone said to me that they had made millions in this industry, and therefore, I should look at it. Now, if you're anything like me, I was very apprehensive. I was extremely skeptical. I wasn't interested. But because that individual made millions, I stopped and listened. Now, does that make sense to everybody? Yes. Because sometimes we never listen to anything anybody says because we've been opportunity to death. Everybody you know is trying to tell you they've got the way you can make money. And if you're like me, you tried some things that didn't work. How many of you have tried some things and it didn't work? Now, the reason I say I have a difficult opportunity today is because I'm really not here today, this morning, to tell you how to make money, although I'm going to talk a little bit about it. What's more important to me is that you understand what we're doing. Now, if you choose to participate on the financial side, that's great. But if you're not interested in making money, what I'm going to share with you is still very, very valuable. In fact, I'd almost rather just share that part of it, the fact that you can have better health. How many of you agree that your greatest wealth is your health? Now, if you don't believe that, if you ever have I won't say it's an opportunity, if you ever get sick, there's not any amount of money you wouldn't spend to get healthy again. You talk to individuals who are ill, they could care less about money. They just want their health again. So when you put that in perspective, health is even more important than wealth. Would you guys agree? Yes. But it's like Mr. Lee says, if your pain is financial, that's what you're going to go through. So I'm going to spend 20 minutes sharing with you guys some information. Now, we call it a success system. It's a business that creates predictable income. But the real issue is it's solving real problems and real needs. Now, when you enter our business, there's an entry level of $1,000, and eventually it can grow to well over $10,000 per month. That you'll see as we go through the presentation has happened for a lot of people. Anytime you hear about businesses, you have questions. Now, some of you are saying, is this that same old network marketing thing where I have to talk to everybody I know and then join the NFL? Has anybody heard of the NFL? That means no friends left. When you're doing businesses like that, a lot of times you lose friends because that business model sometimes is tiring to individuals. Some people want to know, well, is the business already working? Let me tell you, we've already had success. There's a gentleman in our team, and by the way, let me stop very quickly. Can everybody just kind of, if you're in the back and there are seats, can you move up? And I'm going to tell you why. There's a bus that's probably about 10 minutes away. Probably has close to 50 people on it. And if we don't want to get distracted, it would be so much better for us if they just move to the back. Is that okay with everybody? Yes. So if you have an empty seat,